What's up, my dude? So in this video, I'm going to be talking about Erode and Pro RF Supercross 2018. So just for your information, I'm playing with this on 100 Erode right now, and I'm actually doing this live. So bear with me a little bit if I don't hit every single quad perfectly. It's going to be a bit challenging to try to keep my train of thought and still ride on a track that's actually constantly evolving here, but what I will say is that I've been seeing quite a few things on them thinking about doing the Erode for Supercross 2018. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. You know, anything's subject to change at any point in time when you think about it. But, oh my God, that save. So let's talk about it. Let's just kind of get in here and figure out some of the problems they might have with it and just kind of my thoughts overall on it. I do think it is a cool idea. Obviously, that's what we all sort of want eventually in this game, is a great terrain deformation system that really works in an online racing server and all that good stuff. You know, we all want that. I just don't know. I don't know how much it's actually ready for it. I mean, I think it looks great at times, and it does give you realistic ruts at times. I think that their best bet, I guess, is what they could do is try to that they would have to make it to where the bikes weren't rutting up the track hardly at all, because you got to think you're going to have 22 bikes on that track for whatever 20 laps in the main event, you know, let's just say. So you're going to have to make that to where it's not rutting up very much, hardly at all. And if they do that, then I think it'll be okay as far as the track goes. You know, it would take it like 15 to 20 laps to really develop, you know, much of anything. Because if you're developing crazy ruts super early, then now you've got a totally changed dynamic of the game, and you almost have more of a motocross track than a supercross track. So they got to be a bit careful there, you know, and not make... And a part of me is like, I don't know. I mean, I want the realism there, but at the same time, I don't really know if I want that much ruts in every single, you know, pro supercross race. I mean, I think it would be cool, like, have it in some, but also have some where it's like not even rutting up the track hardly at all. You know, like maybe have Erode 1 on or Erode 0.5 or whatever, you know. So it's basically not doing much at all on some tracks, and then have other tracks where you've got like Erode 5 on or something. You know, I'm just kind of spitting numbers out here, but that's kind of what I would think. I definitely wouldn't put it on anything more than like Erode 5 or whatever, you know what I mean? Or the equivalent of that, or whatever you want to call it. I think that that's going to be, you know, your maximum, what I would think would be Erode 5. Because, I mean, you're timesing that by, multiplying that by 22 riders. So, and that's every lap that's hitting that. So, I mean, 5 would be like absolute maximum. I'm thinking more like 2 or 3. But you would just have to really be able to test that with 20 riders. So I don't know what all testing they've done with it. And then you've got the other side of it where it's like, can the server even handle 20 people, you know, getting in there and eroding the track? So I think it's going to be kind of a... If they do decide to do it at A1, I think it's going to be kind of a trial and error sort of thing. They're going to test it out and see what it does. And then they'll decide from that point on if they want to continue to do it or they want to try to change it up. So it's just going to be a sort of probably like an evolving kind of thing here, which how it usually is with a lot of things in this game. But I think it would be cool to change up the tracks. You know, it'll change them up. Oh, God. And there's going to be an interesting thing there where it starts to build kickers on jumps, and you can actually hit even bigger rhythms than what you thought you could beforehand, you know. So, yeah, they're just going to have to figure out a decent system to put in place there. And, I mean, I think it's possible. I honestly do. With the current terrain deformation system, I do think it's possible, but... It's just they're really going to have to find a perfect system, and probably on most tracks it's going to be like a a bit of a gimmick in a sense. Like I don't mean gimmick in a negative way. I mean gimmick in the sense of they're going to have the terrain deformation so low that it's hardly even doing anything. You know, maybe have terrain deformation 0.5 on there or something like that. You know, or 0.25, where you still basically got the same track. You just got a little bit of divots here and there, and I don't think you're going to be seeing anything extreme. I don't know. I mean, like I'm saying, on some tracks it would be cool, and then have other tracks where it wasn't like that. Because and on a motocross track, it's totally different, in my opinion. On a motocross track, like I think they could get away with doing Erode, 7 on that or something. Because that's what a motocross track is. But like a lot of times, Supercross tracks stay more in form. I know some of the more recent years they've gotten a lot more ruddy and shit like that, but I think it's just, and you have to add into account that in the real life races they come in there and prep the tracks after everything. So is that how it's going to be? Like, I'm assuming that's how it's going to be. You're just going to have totally new prep track every time you get on the track. So basically, you're looking at a zero deformed track when they first start on it. That's going to be interesting, dude. I mean, that's going to be crazy when they actually decide to race with that in the game. Like I'm saying, I just don't. I mean, it's one thing to try it out. I can see that, but like to actually keep it in there and truly use it is going to be another thing. I just don't know if they're really going to do that yet. Even if they do try it out. So we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, you can see how that corner's turned into like straight up motocross rut. So yeah, I mean, I'll be interested to see how it turns out. And I know that me getting in here on Erode 100 is totally different than how 20 riders at Erode 0.25, what that's going to do. It's going to be a totally different experience, but you just don't want to get the track so chewed up to where everybody's just flipping all over the track and no one can even ride on it, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. Like, they just got to make sure it doesn't get to that point. And all you can really do to get it to that point is to test it. Test what kind of Erode you actually have going there. But it's a cool idea. I'm glad they're, trying to evolve it a little bit. I'm just unsure of it at this point. But once they do more testing on it and see how it turns out, like, this kind of rotation that I've got going on right here, rotation, there's a new word for your ass. This that I got going right here, this is what I would think you would get after running about, oh, there's that little quad. This is what I would get, what I would think you would get after running about, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of like 30 laps on a track with 20 people in a realistic type sense. You'd get like this kind of shit going on. But it just kind of, and another deal they're going to have to think about is if they have any pre-baked ruts, then those ruts are going to turn into basically trenches if you have terrain deformation on to any extent. So, what I'm thinking is you're probably going to see a lot more flat tracks, flat style tracks in a base sense. And I think there's nothing wrong with like having pre-made ruts and then not having a terrain deformation system in the pro racing on certain rounds or whatever, or having it really, really low, I think they could get away with doing that, like thinking about how they want that dirt to be on that track and then going in there and adjusting, how they actually want to have the erode set for it. But, I'm about to sneeze. Alrighty then, I'm back here, dude. But it's just going to be a wait and see kind of thing. I know that anytime they try to do anything new like that, it just takes time to figure it out, Even in a pro, it's going to be hard to get 22 pro level riders to really test that out at this point in time. And, so it's going to be different with pro riders in comparison to getting just like 20 random folks on there. Folks, God, I can hardly even say that word. But I mean, you can see, this track's still rideable. It's just gnarly as fuck. So, yeah, I don't know. It's going to change the whole dynamic of the pro racing. It truthfully will So that's kind of where the worrisome aspect is coming from on my side. Even though I want it and I think it'll be cool, I just think they got I hope they get it in their head that like certain tracks can have basically hardly any erode on it at all. You know, like if it's somewhat more hard packed, and in an overall sense, you know, it doesn't have to build crazy ruts on every single round that they do. So as long as they keep that in their mind, I don't think it'll be too crazy, you know. But let's just say they have like one round that's like a mud Supercross round. I think that would be really cool if they put that in there. Just had like a rainy mud Supercross round, then had the Erode set on like 10 or something, you know, made it more crazy like that. I think that would be cool to kind of throw a curveball in there on at least one of the rounds, one or two of the rounds, have a muddy, you know, mud Supercross race, because we're just building the realism in this game, pro racing every element. So it's definitely amazing to see this, and I think it's going to impress a lot of people when it actually gets put in there in a good system and a good format. But every year something changes, you know, every single year. I know the format's changing a lot with the real life 2018 Supercross racing. So it looks like they're taking away the semis again. What the fuck? Let's just put semis in. Let's take them away. Let's put them back in there. Oh, boy. And then they're doing some other stuff with the points where it's you're actually getting more points for every new position you go through instead of like the last 4 points. I think it was only 1 point difference. So they were all like the same point. Basically, like if they made it to where position 22 got 1 point, and then position 21 got 2 points, and then position 20 got 3 points, and then position 19 got 4 points, and then position 18 got 5 points, instead of like the last 4 positions only getting 1 point apiece. So it's a little bit confusing if you don't know what I'm talking about, but they are changing quite a few different things there. So they're having this like triple crown thing that plays into the points. They're having 2 rounds. It's east-west shootout that also plays into the main points. It's getting crazy out here, dude. So I don't know how they're going to put all that into I don't know how much they're going to actually put that into the RF Pro Racing. You know, if they're going to make it exactly how it is in real life, I don't know. I know it's going to get really confusing when you're like doing a three main. It's basically like a monster cup for 3 of the real Supercross rounds is what it's looking like. You're having a 3 main event sort of style for only 3 of the rounds. So it's looking pretty crazy, to be honest. I don't even know. I mean, they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see nonetheless. But either way, I do think it's cool that they're doing the Erode thing, trying to anyways. Just don't know how much they're going to actually be able to apply it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how much they're going to be able to actually be able to put it in there where it works in a way where we actually think it's okay. I mean, the only way I'm seeing that you could really do that at this point, ooh, can I hook that? Yes. The only way I'm really thinking that you could do that at this point, like I'm saying, is just making it to where that Erode is so low level. Like it's just so low that you're basically not really eroding much at all, but you just kind of have it in there. I mean, I guess is the way to say it, because when you get 20 riders, 22 riders, it's changing it. You know, it's changing how that Erode's working entirely. It's totally different than hopping on there with one bike and then doing like a Erode 50 or Erode 40. You know, that's how it's been played from most of this time period so far. You just get on there with one person and then set your Erode, and you're making a certain kind of rut system. So it's just going to be a different animal in a pro race environment. Then also you've got, you know, do you have the Erode on in qualifying or no Erode in qualifying? Or I don't even know how you would be able to do that. I mean, I would guess the easy route of that would just be have no Erode on qualifying at all. You know, only have that on racing, unless you would have to have live qualifying in that sense, and you would have to have it like certain, let's see, how the fuck would you do that? You'd have to have like superset qualifying servers, and you couldn't leave the server once you started, and it would get pretty difficult in that sense. But I think they could pull that off where you had Erode and qualifying as well. But I don't know. I mean, they may realize that it gets a little bit crazy doing that, and then they may go to more of a system of like a prepped version, you know, mid-ruddy version, or like just a prepped version, then a super main event version or something like that. I don't know. But I do think the system they have right now, where they've got it where it's like some tracks have pre-baked ruts and other tracks don't really have them, it's a cool system. You know, it really is, because you get a lot of variation in that sense. You get some tracks that's got no ruts, some tracks got more ruts, and it's a consistent basis. You don't have to worry about erode lag or anything like that. So I don't know what they're going to do, but it'll be interesting to see it nonetheless. So either way, I appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.